الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين ثم الصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين. اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم. اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. Assalamu alaikum, dear class. Welcome back to class for book 4, inshallah. I hope that inshallah each and every one of you is doing very well and inshallah feeling up to the class today. We're on page number 26, which is the last page on Nabuwa, reading Nabuwa. If you have the PDF, it's page 36 on the left and 26 in the actual book. Exactly. So as you can, if you don't have it, you can see it on your screens now. So we've discussed the tree of Islam. We've discussed that the branches, the furu'at are 10. We've discussed that the usul are 5. Then we discussed tawheed. Then we discussed adala of Allah, the justice, Allah being just. And now we are finishing off Nabuwa. We discussed about the Holy Prophet that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent 124,000 prophets. Now we continue on this. Now, have you ever wondered what the role of the Prophet is? Yes, we know that there are 124,000 prophets. The first prophet we discussed was Nabi Adam. And if you remember that the last prophet is our prophet, which is Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. And we also said that in the Quran, Allah has mentioned 25 prophets. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned 25 prophets by name. Even though we know from the hadith that we have many more than that, 124,000. And we also then discussed that the prophet is masoom. What do we mean by the prophet is masoom? We mean that he is clean of all sins and mistakes. He does not make mistake. He does not make mistake. He does not make any sin. He is masoom. He does not commit any bad deeds. Why? So people can obey the most perfect person. Okay, now, if you can all see the book, the first title says, what was the role of the prophet? Why did Allah send a prophet? Have you ever asked yourself this question? Why did Allah send prophets? Why did Allah send so many prophets? Not one, not two, not 100 or 200 prophets or 124,000 prophets were sent to guide humanity. This is why. Because he wanted to guide people to the right path. And the prophets brought them the laws of Allah. What are the laws of Allah? Any ideas? The laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are the halal and the haram. In other words, what the laws of Allah is the do and the don't. Do this and don't do that. For example, we know it is haram to drink alcohol. It is haram to drink alcohol. It is not allowed. It is haram to eat pig. It is haram to lie. It is haram to steal. It is haram to hurt anyone. It is haram to deceive anyone. It is haram to not pray. These are guides. These are laws. When we say laws of Allah, halal and haram. Or in other words, Sharia. Remember the word. I'm sure you've all heard the word Sharia. If you haven't heard this word, then remind yourselves and remember. Sharia is the laws of Allah. The halal, the haram, the do's and the don'ts. I think we'll leave it at that, just because we don't want to confuse anyone. So now, prophets received knowledge from Allah. That means Prophet had far greater knowledge than you and I. The knowledge of a Prophet is connected with the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And now, once we receive that knowledge, so when the prophets come, they don't force you. Once you receive that knowledge, the choice is yours. You're free. You decide if you want to accept, or you decide if you don't want to accept what the prophets have told you. They never forced anyone. The Holy Prophet Muhammad never forced anyone. Prophet Jesus never forced anyone. Moses did not force Pharaoh. He said, look, this is the right knowledge, this is the right laws of God. You can accept them or you can't. It's the choice is yours. Now let's go down. Why did Allah send us prophets? The last part. And then with this we end the section on Nabuwah. So the main reason, remember, if you ask this question in your exam, this could be a good exam question. Why did Allah send us prophets? The reason why Allah sent us prophet is so that He keeps you away from the evil path, because He wants to guide you away from the evil path. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is kind. He is merciful to us. So He sends us prophets so that we don't go on the right path. And so we should be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You see, on the day of judgment, we will be rewarded for our good deeds and we shall be punished for our bad deeds. But the question is, how do we know what is good and what we should do, and how do we know what is bad that we should avoid? The answer goes back to the prophets. The prophets were sent to us so that we are able to guide ourselves through the teachings of the prophets. Do this because this is halal. Don't do this because this is not halal. Okay, so this is finished. Let's go down. Let's have a look at worksheet 2.8 and let's see who can do this. And the chat is enabled, so now you can use the chat. The answers you can write in your chat. Question number 1. Prophets are masoom. Prophets are sinless. True or false? This is on your worksheet underneath this page. Number 1. Prophets are masoom. True or false? I'll give you all a minute to think about this. Okay. Prophets are masoom. True. Well done to everyone who got this right. I think everyone got this right. Number 2. Prophets were sent to us to guide us. True or false? Take a minute to think about this. This is everything we have studied so far. So I don't expect any mistakes. Okay, so well done to everyone who got true. Prophets were sent to guide us. They were not sent to misguide us. Okay. Question number 3. Why do prophets have to be masoom? Is it because so that people listen to them? 2. Is it because they can be popular? Or 3, so that they don't have to pretend to follow Allah? Why do prophets have to be masoom? Write A, B, or C. Well done, mashallah, mashallah. Everyone has got it right. Remember, prophets are masoom, so everyone can listen to them. Otherwise, if they made mistakes, no one would listen to them. Mashallah, well done. You're all paying attention. Okay, now let's look at question number 4. This is an interesting question. How were the prophets chosen? Number 8, is it anybody who passed Allah's written exam became a prophet? So if anyone who gave an exam of prophethood and passed it, Allah made him a prophet. Is it B, those people who were the most perfect at that time were chosen as prophets? Or is it C, those people who were well liked by the people were chosen as the prophets? Is it A, B, or is it C? Well done to everyone who got B. B is the right answer. There is no written exam. They don't have to give any exam. The people who were the most perfect at that time. You see, Rasulullah at that time was the most perfect out of all of the people. He was the greatest. No one was on his level. No one could compare with the Holy Prophet. He was known as Sadiq and Amin, the truthful and the trustworthy. Okay. Last question. Nabuwah is the fill in the gap. Nabuwa is the what of the usul ad-din? Is it the first of the usul ad-din? Is it the second of the usul ad-din? Is it the fourth of the usul ad-din? Or is it the fifth of the usul ad-din? Is it A, B, C, and D? Well done to everyone. This is obviously a mistake. This question has a mistake. Nabuwa is the third of usul ad-din. MashaAllah. For all of those who were able to pick up this mistake. Well done. Remember, Tawheed is first, Adala is second, Nabuwa is third, and then we have Imama. Now let's move over to Imama. So that's Tawheed, Adalat, and Nabuwat completed and finished. So by now you should have a good understanding of Tawheed, Adala, and Nabuwa. Now Imama. So Imama, as you know, is the most important usul for the Shia Muslims. There is nothing more important than Imama. And a lot of time is spent trying to learn, understand, and digest the usul, the principle of Imama. And you know that this is something that the Sunni Muslims deny. The Sunni Muslims don't accept Imama. They accept Nabuwat and then they say Qiyamah. But we say after Nabuwat we have Imam. So like there are many people who reject Imama. Once in the time of Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam, there was a man who did not accept Imamat. He said, we don't need Imams. What is an Imam? The Prophet is enough. So what happened is, a person came into a masjid in Iraq, and there was a man called by the name of Amr ibn Ubayd. He told the people that he did not believe that he needed Imams. Just listen to this quick story before we move on. A person came in, his name was Amr, and he says, you don't need Imams. What is an Imam? And one of the students of Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq, remember Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq had more than 4,000 students. A student of Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq was Hisham. He challenged him. He says to him, tell me something. Do you have eyes? He says, yes, of course I have eyes. He says, what do you use your eyes for? He says, I use my eyes to see. And then he says, okay, do you have ears? He says, of course I have ears. And then Hisham says, what do you use your ears for? He says, I use my ears to hear. And then he says, okay, do you have a nose and a mouth? He says, of course I have a nose and a mouth. What kind of silly questions are you asking? He said, allow me to explain. He said, what do you use your, he says to him, then do you have a brain? He says, yes, I have a brain. He says, what do you use your brain for? He says, my brain allows me to understand the information which is received by my eyes, ears, nose, and the mouth. So my eyes, ears, nose, and mouth, they all depend on the brain. I use my eyes to see, I use my nose to smell, I use my ears to hear, I use my mouth to speak. But all of these things, they depend on the brain. If it wasn't for the brain, none of these things would function. So then Amr says, Hisham says, so just like you have a brain to guide your organs, in the same way you have the Imam to guide all of the people after the Prophet. In other words, if you were without a brain, you would be brain dead. Your eyes wouldn't work, your nose wouldn't function, your mouth wouldn't function, your ears wouldn't hear, nothing would work. Just like the brain is needed to control these things, the Imam is needed to guide and control the people after the last Prophet of Allah. Who's the last Prophet of Allah? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. Amr could not reply. He realized that this is so true. Like we have a brain which continues to function and controls everything else, we need an Imam that controls everything else. Okay, let's go to the next page. Now, remember, we have 12 Imams. They came after the Holy Prophet. The Holy Prophet is not an Imam. The Holy Prophet is the last Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. After him, there are no prophets. That means the Imams begin right after the last Prophet of Allah. And so we have our 12 Imams, or A'imma, as you can see. They're called A'imma. A'imma is the plural form of Imam. So it is not correct to say Imams actually, though we use it, but the correct word is A'imma. Now let's look at the names of our A'imma. In front of you, you have a list of our 12 Imams. Let's have a look at them. Our first Imam is Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib. He is buried in Najaf Ashraf. Then our second Imam is his son, Imam Hassan, who is buried in Medina, Jannatul Baqi. Then after him, you have the brother of Imam Hassan, who is Imam Hussein. So Imam Ali had two sons, Hassan and Hussein. The first Imam was the older Imam Hassan, then Imam Hussein alayhi salatu. He's buried in Karbala. Fourth Imam is Imam Zainul Abidin, the son of Imam Hussein, buried in Jannatul Baqi. Then you have the fifth Imam alayhi who is the son of Imam Zainul Abidin, again buried in Baqi in Medina. Then you have the sixth Imam Ja'far Sadiq, who is the son of Imam Muhammad al-Baqir, again buried in Medina. Then you have Imam Musa al-Kadhim, son of Imam. So each and every one is the son of the Imam before. They're all sons of one another except Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein. Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein are not sons, they're brothers. Imam Hussein is the father, then the son is Imam Zain Abidin, then the son of Zain Abidin is Imam Muhammad al-Baqir, then Imam Muhammad al-Baqir's son is Imam Ja'far Sadiq, then Imam Ja'far Sadiq's son is Imam Musa al-Kazim, then Imam Musa al-Kazim's son is Imam Ali al-Raza, then Imam Ali al-Raza's son is Imam Muhammad Taqi, then Imam Muhammad al-Taqi's son is Imam Naqi al-Hadi, and Imam Naqi al-Hadi alayhi had a son by the name of Imam Hassan al-Askari. Imam Hassan al-Askari is the father of our 12th Holy Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salatu wasalam, ajalallahu ta'ala farajahu al-sharif. So remember, brothers and sisters, dear class, remember, as followers of the 12th Imam, we need to memorize the names of the 12th Imam. We need to know where they were born. We need to know where they are buried. When we go for the ziyarat to Iraq or Iran, we go for the ziyarat of these Imams. So we need to memorize this, inshallah. If you can, this is your homework, to try to memorize the names of the Imams. Imam Ali, Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein, Zain al-Abidin, Muhammad al-Baqir, Ja'far Sadiq, Musa al-Kazim, Ali al-Rada, Muhammad Taqi al-Jawad, Ali Naqi al-Hadi, Hassan al-Askari, and Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salatu wasalam. And our 12th Imam is our living Imam. Okay, so now, inshallah, this is our Imama ended. Inshallah, if we can have the questions, the poll that I requested. I have a few questions, inshallah. Let's try to go through these questions. So let's see, inshallah, how many of you have been paying attention. You have a minute to have a go at this. How many Imams do we believe in? 14 Imams, 12 Imams, or 7 Imams? So inshallah, I'll give you all a minute to go through this. Okay, I think that's enough time. Time is up. Let's see how you guys did. MashaAllah, well done. Everyone got this question right. Well done. Keep it up, inshallah. Okay, one more question.
Both questions have been answered.
Oh, both of them have been answered. Okay, mashallah, both questions have been answered. Well done. Okay, so this concludes our imama. And I can see that, mashallah, every one of you has understood this well, because no one got this question wrong. So Tawheed is completed, Adl is completed, Nabuwat is completed, Imama is completed. Now, inshallah, let's spend the next 10 minutes or so looking at fiqh. If we can move over to the fiqh section. We looked at wudu. So this is page number 21 after the wudu is over. If you remember last session, we looked at wudu and how wudu is done. What are the mustahab acts of wudu and what are the wajib acts of wudu. So if you remember, mustahab acts are those acts, if they're done, they are highly rewarded, they're thawab. If they're not done, it is not an issue. But the wajib actions are those that they must be done. If they are not done, wudu remains batil. Wudu remains something incomplete. So now this is complete. Today we want to look at mubtalat wuzu, things that make wuzu batil. Ahsantum. So you can all see this page in front of you, mashallah. It's a very nice diagram. And this makes it clear for you. Now, if you all look at the diagram, you can see that there's circles in front of you. There's 4 circles in front of you. Everyone, inshallah, look at this. Remember, these are the acts which make wuzu batil. Batil means invalid. Batil is the opposite of haq. Haq is something, haq is truthful. Batil is invalid. This invalidates wudu. What is the first thing which invalidates wudu? Is going to the toilet. When you go to the toilet for stool or urine, it will invalidate your wudu. Remember, whenever you go to the toilet, after you must make wudu again. Otherwise, namaz cannot be prayed without wudu. So when we go to the toilet, whatever we go for, is it stool or urine, we must make wudu again, because this breaks the wudu. Number 2, passing gas. For example, sometimes you have gas in the stomach and it comes out in the toilet. This also breaks your wudu. Number 3, sleeping. You may have wudu and you may fall asleep. And you get up and then you think to yourself, hold on, I didn't go to the toilet. I didn't pass gas. Did I break my wudu? Yes, you did. If you went to sleep, then you broke your wudu. So a person who wakes up from sleep must make the wudu again. And finally, number 4 is becoming unconscious. For example, someone fainting. Someone faints, and then after he faints, after 1 hour, he regains conscious. He has to do wudu again. Okay, remember, eating and drinking does not invalidate the fast. Eating and drinking, you can eat and drink in fast. A lot of people ask this question, if I eat, will that break my fast? If I drink, will that break my fast? No, eating and drinking will not break your fast. Things like that.
I think you meant wudu, not fast.
Oh, sorry. Eating and drinking, I apologize. Eating and drinking will not break your wudu. Jazakallah. Ahsan. Thank you. Wudu cannot be broken by eating and drinking. Of course, fast will be broken by eating and drinking. Don't quote me on that. Ahsantum. So these are things which are mubtalat wudu. Again, memorize them. Try to learn them. If you go over to the next page, next page is a demonstration of wudu. This we did it last time. If you remember, I showed you more on how to make wudu, and I showed you. If you looked on the video, you probably saw me doing wudu, how to do it, how not to do it, and how the hands are washed, how the face is washed. Okay, just on the okay. Someone is asked about unconscious. Unconscious. I just want to explain number 4. If you go back up, becoming unconscious. What it means is sometimes some people have an illness. Some people can be ill. They can fall unconscious due to different reasons. Sometimes you can take a medicine which may take you out of a state of consciousness. Some people are ill for sometimes throughout the day for a few hours or moments, they become unconscious. Or sometimes you can just get knocked out. Someone can hit you so hard on the head, you can get knocked out. There are many different types of unconsciousnesses. All of these forms of unconsciousness, whether it is deliberate or whether it is due to medication, whether someone hits you and knocks you out, or whether it is a thing that happens to you often, or sometimes even some people have a form of a fit, or like an epilepsy. Some children have epilepsy, some children have fits. They fall unconscious for, even if it is for just a split second, even if it is just for a few minutes, anything like that will invalidate wudu. So someone who experienced these episodes of fit, and then they regain consciousness and they feel okay, they feel better, they say they want to pray namaz now, they must make wudu again. Okay, inshallah. Ahsantum. Okay, next page, we are going to skip that because I have already been through that. I don't want to repeat myself. Inshallah, you can go through this in your own time and try to make wudu to your parents so your parents can wash you. And same thing with worksheet 2.1. We're going to skip this as well because this is all repetition. You have the fill in the blanks here. You can fill this in your own time. I don't want to repeat. I want to move on. So inshallah, we can finish as much of the book as we can in the short time we have. Okay, Salah, namaz. And the hadith says, As-Salah Amududdin. Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib, as we know, is the days of the shahadat of Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib. He says, Allah Allah fi salah, la yasbiqukum bil amali bihi ghayrukum. Allah Allah, be careful of salah. Do not neglect prayer. Do not neglect namaz. This was the wasiyat of Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib. He said this to his children. Okay, salah. Just like wudu, salah has mustahab acts and salah has wajib acts. These acts must be performed. Wajib acts must be performed. If the mustahab acts are not performed, no problem. If they're performed, sawab, ajr. But if they're not performed, no issue. But with salah, the wajib acts must be performed. Now, I just want to look at this sheet that you have, these images that you have in front of you, so that we get a good idea of what salah is. And inshallah, in next week's session, we'll try to go into more detail of salah. Now, you can see the first is takbiratul ihram. The first, these are all wajib actions, okay? The first wajib actions are takbiratul ihram. When you stand on the prayer mat, you face the qibla. Of course, facing the qibla is also wajib. After you face the qibla, you take both your hands up to your ears and you say Allahu Akbar. This is the beginning of salah. Takbiratul ihram is like, what it signifies that I turn away from everything except Allah. My attention is only to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You bring your hands up and you say Allahu Akbar, and this begins the salah. This begins your namaz. When you say takbiratul ihram, it begins your prayer. You cannot talk to anyone. You cannot look left and right. You cannot make any gestures, you cannot laugh loud, you cannot cry, you cannot eat and drink. When you say the takbiratul ihram, you have now entered your salah. Then the next phase is qiyam. You stand. And what do you do in qiyam? You recite Surah Al-Fatiha and a short surah. For example, Qul huwallahu ahad or Inna atayna kal kawthar. After that, straight away, you go into ruku. And you say Subhana Rabbiyal Azime wa bihamde 3 times. Then you make qiyam again. This is qiyam muttasil bil ruku. So after that qiyam, you go into sajda. Number 5 is sajda. You say Subhana Rabbiyal A'la wa bihamde. Then you get back up into julus. Julus is to sit, means to sit. It does not mean the julus like we say in Urdu julus. Julus is from jalasa, which means to sit. Majlis is a place where you sit. Majlis, jalasa, julus are from the same word. Sajda, then you after julus sitting, you go back into sajda. Subhana Rabbiyal A'la wa bihamdi 3 times. Then back into sitting position. And then you go into number 9, which is qiyam. You stand again. And then you recite Surah Al-Fatiha and another surah. And then we make qunut. In qunut, you can make any dua. You can say, Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina azab an-nar. Even the ulama say you can make a dua in your own language. So if English is a language which you're comfortable in, you can make dua to Allah in English. If Urdu is a language you are comfortable in, you can make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the qunut, in your own language. But remember, qunut is amongst the mustahabbat. Qunut is a mustahab act. It is not a wajib act. Even if it is skipped, there is no issue in that. Then after qunut, you go back into ruku. And then same thing, Subhana Rabbiyal A'la wa bihamdi. Then you go into qiyam, and then you go into sajda, back into sajda. Remember, there are 2 sajdas in each rakat. Then you julus, sit again, and sajda again, and then you do tashahhud. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Assalamu alayka ayyuhan nabi wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wassalamu alayna wa ala ibadillahi salihin. Assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This will finish the namaz. And even with the girls, you can see, if you look at the picture of the girls, there is no difference. The salah for boys and girls is together. The only difference is, of course, the girls will pray their salah with a hijab. They have to be covered from the head to down their feet. Now, let's just look at this sheet and we'll end with this, inshallah. If you look at this picture, what is the first so you have pictures on your left and you have words on your right. Try to match the picture with the words. The first picture, is it qiyam? Is it takbiratul ihram? Is it sujood, sajda? Is it qunut? Is it ruku? Or is it tashahhud? I think we all know that this is sajda. Ahsantum. So this is sajda. Picture number 2. You can all see a young girl. She's standing. Is it qiyam, takbiratul ihram? Is it sajda, ruku, or julus? What is it? Take your time to think it, and try to memorize these words. These are Arabic words that we must try to memorize. If you could put perhaps if you could put an arrow, that would be great, brother. Maybe it might help. Number 2 is ruku. Number 2 is qiyam. Mashallah. Well done. Okay, this is number 2. Sujood is the plural of sajda. Okay. Now in ruku, the third image, this is the child doing ruku. Well done to everyone who got that right. Okay, then the image underneath that of a young girl with both of her hands up. What is that? That is qunut. Ahsantum, qunut. And underneath, a guy with both of his hands up. So you can see the young boy, both hands up. What is that? That is takbiratul ihram. MashaAllah. Remember these words: takbiratul ihram, ruku, qiyam, julus, tashahhud. And finally, the last picture, what does this signify? Julus, tashahhud. Well done, mashallah. So this is tashahhud. This is the part in the second rakat or in the fourth rakat when you finish the namaz. Okay, ahsantum, inshallah. Thank you so much for the class. I hope that this was in a lecture which you all enjoyed. I hope that you can memorize these. Do try to memorize these, inshallah. And so next week we will continue our session on this. But try to memorize the names like ruku, tashahhud, julus, qiyam, qunut. All these words, try to memorize them so that inshallah this can benefit you in your future lessons to come. Thank you so much. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Fi amanillah.